Like, you have nothing to lose. It's one of the easiest ways to make money in the tax industry without working so hard. Like, my name is Lisa. I am the founder and CFO of Quick Tax and Credit Solutions. Quick Tax and Credit has been open for 12 years, but I've been in the tax and accounting industry for a little over 15 years. I have my master's in finance and I have my bachelor's in accounting.
Prior to joining, did you know what a service bureau was? I know you had a little bit of a unique story. You don't have to go too deep into details, but did you know anything about a service bureau, or did you ever look into becoming a service bureau?
I didn't look into becoming a service bureau because it was a lot of work, or I thought it was a lot of work. And I did work for another service bureau off and on, but just as a consultant and as a trainer. So I did know what a service bureau was, but I didn't know what it could be. There's so many different models of how to run a service bureau. So I only saw one small, micro focused vision of it. And now I know that there's so many different ways that you can actually run a service bureau.
Right, for sure. We'll dive into some of those here in a second. What made you interested in wanting to join our program? There's a lot of options out there, right? What made you interested in wanting to join up with us?
Well, there are a lot of options out there, and it all depends on what's best for each person. But for me, I wanted a little bit more guidance. I wanted some actual structured training because I like school and I've always liked school. I like things that are structured with homework and a checklist. I'm a checklist type person. So I felt like this kind of followed that for me and made it very clear step by step. So that was what was able to get me from not knowing too much on the back end of a service bureau to knowing, how I want to run it, how I want to package it, how I want to market, and how I want to sell it.
Got it. So all of the trainings that basically lay out those foundations. And you mentioned something earlier that we might as well touch on now. You were talking how there's multiple different ways to really grow this type of business. And we talk a lot about those in our program. You want to share a bit about how you grew yours and the success you've had?
So mine was not intentional. It was by accident. I was kind of still, as you know, still thinking about getting into it. And what I decided very last minute at the end of, right at the beginning of tax season. So what I did was I created the web page. I created, all the back end stuff of how to market it. And we took one post and boosted it. We didn't even do an ad. We didn't do anything. I was just like, let's see if this works. Let's see if this happens. I got 8 people that were interested. We sold the software to 8 people, but I decided I wanted to do more of a coaching program and help them through their first tax season so that they can be set up for success. Because there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. But I came from a background where I didn't have any loans. I didn't have people let me borrow money. I didn't have money for marketing. I didn't even know how to market and how to figure it out myself. So had I known back then what I know now, I would have been 3 times as more successful. And even in my first tax season, I was able to hit over $100,000 in sales. So I was able to take that knowledge, package it up, and create a coaching program for my 8 tax preparers. And out of the 8, 4 of them were really, really strong. 4 or 5 of them were really, really strong. And they all made over $100,000 this year.
Awesome. So you helped a lot of people get into the industry and help them hit their first 6 figures in a short amount of time.
Correct.
And how did you do on your service bureau side?
I did great. I did great. I did well over 6 figures.
Okay.
Besides the service bureau, we have our fees for coaching and, we have different back end things and bonuses of that nature. So we got, I think, up to, so far, I haven't ran the final numbers, but so far it was probably $145,000 that we've made, or
awesome.
Close to 180, I think.
Got it. So first year service bureau, already 6-figure service bureau.
Yes.
And creating 6-figure tax offices
correct
in the process. So that's awesome.
Correct. And it's a lot less work than trying to do 6 figures in the tax office. Because believe me, running the service bureau and still running my tax office was not easy. I'm hoping to fire myself as a tax preparer and just focus on the coaching.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook that. Obviously, the service bureau, like you said, it does require work to put together, but a lot of people overlook that the residual that gets built over time. Right.
Exactly.
So, like you kind of saw during the season, you're like, wait, these people are doing this, right? I'm coaching them, and they're making the money, but then all of a sudden you realize, oh wait, I'm going to make money on it too, and
Correct.
then you kind of weigh out the time spent in the tax office doing tax returns versus the amount of time spent on that, and you kind of
I'd rather do service bureau full time. So this year we definitely have a bigger coaching program. As of right now, I think I have 11 sales calls today, and I have a pretty good closing ratio. I have about 90% closing ratio. So most of them will be joining on, as they were referred by those that are in the program as it is now. So that's even a warmer lead, and we hope to really blow it up this year.
Awesome, that's great. So you have a plan for this fall season. I'm gonna touch on that here in a second. But I do want to ask you, part of what we feel separates our program from everyone else in the industry is, besides a better deal than's out there and pretty much anywhere else in the industry,
Exactly.
is the training aspects, right? And you kind of hinted at this before, you mentioned it before. One of the things that we felt was really missing was actual systems, trainings, and processes for this type of business. So we had to make it. And we kind of can you share a bit of your experience with going through the trainings, and what, if any, was good for you that you were able to leverage?
I love the fact that I don't actually have to start a tax school. It's right in the portal, and one of the things that is a huge selling point for the way that I run my service bureau is that I can either gift that to them as an added value. I can, especially if right now, one of the ladies that I'm coaching has 12 preparers. She doesn't have time to train them. And so I gifted that for them. And on top of that, because she is paying for the monthly coaching fees, plus the service bureau, plus all of these other ways that I can make money within the service bureau, I was able to give that to her as a gift for all 12 of her preparers. And that she signed on. She was like, where do I sign? Just that alone, it makes up the money that I'm paying for your coaching every month. And it's just great because I don't have to take the time to create the class or buy it white label or go through it to see if it's good or anything like that, because everything that you guys have is of quality.
The community, right? I don't know how involved you are in the community.
Somewhat. I try to catch up with everybody within the Facebook group and impart some of my knowledge, because like I said, I did work with another service bureau for many, many years, about 8 years. And so there's a lot of things on the back end that maybe some other new people to the industry just don't know, or don't know that they can do it in a different way. So I try to catch up I try to get in there at least once or twice a month.
How is a little bit of feedback on the support? We do have support channels for you guys on the service bureau side. So how do you feel support was for you?
I think support was great. I know in the beginning of this past tax season, I messed up a couple things, and I was like, oh my God, I need help. And it was just like immediate help. I didn't feel like I had to wait or anything like that. So I think the support is there, not only for like this, on the software stuff, because I'm not super techy and there's a lot of things I don't know, but also on the sales side. Tamar with Tax Nitro is super amazing and can help you look at how to market it a little bit differently and help package your message. You're awesome. I can always reach you and say, hey, I have this going on, or I have an idea. What do you think about this? What's the best way to do it? So I feel like your team is super supportive, and the expertise that you have, not just in, owning tax business, but being on the service bureau side is super valuable.
What are you most excited about going into next year now that you're going to have a full sales season behind you?
I think I am most excited about being intentional with our message and being intentional with what we're doing. Just being able to make 6 figures on a boosted post shows me the greater potential of, turning this into $1 million business. And we already have everything set in place. Every month we already have a game plan and the ads in place. Like everything is ready to go. We are going to be everywhere. I keep telling my friends, I'm like, you guys are just gonna be sick of me, like sick of me, that you're gonna want to start your own tax business. You're not gonna help yourself because you're sick of me. I'm gonna be everywhere. So, besides the fact that we're gonna be intentional with our coaching program, one of the things I feel really, really passionate about is being a speaker and a motivator and a trainer. So we're going to combine that as to how we run our service bureau, so we can really help out a lot of other people that are just trying to get out of that 9 to 5, or, no longer want to do this seasonally, and they really, really want to attack the market and get a profit of that market share.
Someone will be watching this video at some point. We're going to be everywhere, making you famous too, right?
Yes.
So what would you tell anyone that is looking at joining the Service Bureau Accelerator program?
What are you waiting for? Like, you have nothing to lose. It's one of the easiest ways to make money in the tax industry without working so hard, like physically putting hours and stress into it. You're giving your expertise, helping other people make money. Really, it's really a no-brainer. It's a lot easier than doing taxes, and it's less headache, less phone calls. Why wouldn't anybody want to do this?